The stage is almost set for the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. The 150th Kentucky Derby will run at Churchill Downs tonight. Fierceness is the 5-2 betting favorite and will run from the 17 post. Post 17 has never produced a winner in 44 races. Sierra Leone is second favorite at 3-1, followed by Catching Freedom. First place will earn more than $3 million. Joining us now live with more on the Derby is Mark McKelvie, Senior Communications Manager at Woodbine Race Track. Mark, good to see you.
Good to see you. It's a fun day, the first Saturday in May. Sports fans know it, and you said it. It's the best 2 minutes in sports.
And let's see how it goes, but it could just be the fiercest 2 minutes in sports as well. Set the scene for us. Why is Fierceness the favorite here?
Yeah, I mean, this is a race that anything can happen. And people know that. If you've ever watched a horse race, if you've ever placed a wager on a horse race, anything can happen. But Fierceness just seems to be a cut above. In his last race, he won the Florida Derby down in South Florida, and he was dominant. He won by basically the length of a football field. It was so impressive that that's why people have him pegged as the horse to beat. But for me, what makes this race so intriguing this year, and you mentioned it, we've got Fierceness and Sierra Leone as the two favorites. They run completely opposite styles. Fierceness likes to go out to the front, and Sierra Leone likes to come from the back. So it should set up for some great drama. 20 horses going 1.25 miles.
Yeah, you mentioned Sierra Leone. I thought this little fun fact was interesting. The fact that horses with a name starting with the letter S have won the Kentucky Derby 19 times more than any other. I guess that's the start of the strategy for Sierra Leone. What is that? I mean, you mentioned a bit of what that horse and that jockey, how they like to run their race. What do you think's in store today?
Yeah, well, they have an inside starting spot. So you have 20 horses that'll be lining up in the gate. And the inside isn't necessarily favorable because when the race begins, everybody likes to move down to the inside. So those inside horses kind of get squeezed. For Sierra Leone, though, they're just going to take back. And what it comes down to, are they going to find their lanes? The jockey, Tyler Gaffalione, seems very confident, but it's going to need a little bit of luck. He's going to need those lanes to open up to try and shoot through. But this is a race where it's usually a little unpredictable. Anything could happen. We could see some long shots come through. Just a few years ago, Rich Strike was one of the biggest upsets in Derby history. So it's one of those races where the favorites don't always prevail.
And these are really young horses, too, right? Talk about some of the training, Mark, that goes into this.
Yeah, so the Kentucky Derby is for horses that are 3 years of age. And horses, they all have the same birthday, at least race horses. That's January 1. That's technically when your age flips over for when that next racing season begins. So these are 3-year-olds. For some of them, they've got 7 or 8 starts, but there's horses in here with just 2 or 3 starts. So you've got a bit of a varying experience levels. The trainers have all been pointing, you have to earn your way into the Kentucky Derby. There's prep races leading up to get those points to get into this big race and to have this opportunity to race in the Run for the Roses.
Yeah, and Woodbine is the home of horse racing here in the city of Toronto. How are you guys celebrating the Kentucky Derby? Are there watch parties happening?
Exactly that. Kind of over my shoulder. We've already got the races on the TV. The fans are going to start to filter in. We're hosting a Derby Day party. It is sold out, actually, so we're going to have a great crowd, going to be great atmosphere. But live racing still continues here today at Woodbine Race Track, so fans can come on out. It's free admission. It's free parking. First race is at 1:10, and then you can stick around and watch the race, the Kentucky Derby from Churchill Downs. It's going to go right around 7 p.m. If you can't come out to the track, though, you can watch and wager at hpibet.com. And for the first time ever, our sports betting partner Bet365 is offering wagering on the Kentucky Derby. So lots of ways to get in on the action.
Mark, if you were a betting man, and maybe you are, where are you placing your bets today?
Well, sometimes in racing, they tell you to go with your heart, go with your gut. And, well, our heart here at Woodbine is going to be backing our own jockey, Kazushi Kimura. He's our leading rider the last 3 years, and he's racing in the Derby. He's going to be aboard a horse named T.O. Password. So, obviously, we're going to pull for him. But for the last few months, I've been on the Sierra Leone bandwagon, so I can't jump off it just yet.
I didn't know there was a local jockey racing. Tell us about him. What's his experience been like, and how hard has he been training leading up to the Derby?
Well, I'd have to think the experience for him is a little easier because last year he got the chance to race in the Derby for the very first time, and it all came together very last minute. Here he's going to be riding a horse named T.O. Password. It's actually coming from Japan. So no horse has ever come from Japan and won the Kentucky Derby. Kazushi Kimura, who is from Japan himself, moved here to Canada several years ago, and for the last 3 years he's been Canada's top jockey. So he's been dominating the racing here at Woodbine. We're going to be pulling for him. They're a bit of a long shot in this race, but like I said, long shots do come through in the Derby, and we're hoping hoping that Kazushi will have a safe and good run.
Yeah, we saw that big upset in 2022, so anything can happen. Mark McKelvie from Woodbine Race Track, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.